All right, welcome back to another episode of Bitfinex Talks. I'm your host, Ricardo Martinez. Today, I have a very special guest with me, my friend Paco de la India. Paco is a Bitcoin evangelist who has traveled to a lot of different countries, running in each city for his project, Run with Bitcoin. Paco, how are you today?
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me, man. Everything good? Hello from Nashville. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for accepting the interview and coming on the show, man. Which countries have you recently traveled to in the past few months?
I think so. After the Miami conference, I got to do a little bit of the Caribbean islands. So I started from Cuba, moved over into Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow.
And after that, I did Suriname, Panama, Nicaragua, Honduras, and yep, Costa Rica too. Yeah.
Cool. So kind of a Latin American and Caribbean tour.
Yes. So I wanted to see how the money is being used, and most of these countries are cash only economies.
So what have you seen as far as like Bitcoin adoption goes?
I would say that we are very early, man. Anybody who is saying that we're gonna have Bitcoin adoption in 5 years is living in a bubble, and he just wants to invest our money. It's gonna
Okay.
take at least 20 years. Because still cash economy, it is still cash economy. You go to Jamaica, you go to Cuba, you go to I would say the only country that is using a CBDC is Cuba. They have something called an MLC. So if you send $100, you get 100 MLC coins. That 100 MLC coins can be used in MLC stores.
Okay.
You don't get
And
any
is that
MLC.
like a digital currency that they're using, MLC?
Yes. Yep.
Or is there like also physical MLC?
Nope. Only digital. So that's the only country that has like possibility to do it just thanks to their government. You can have a lot of control and you can make it possible. But the average man's salary is 25 to $50 per month. What can they do? They cannot even escape from there. But that's the only
Yeah.
country that I saw is digitalized with that. And but every other country that is claiming that we're gonna have their CBDC is way far off because they are still cash-rich economies and they prefer cash. Be it the any Caribbean islands, thanks to the tourism, the cruise tourism that goes in there, or for that matter, Nicaragua or Honduras, because they have a lot of their own people living abroad, just like El Salvador, the remittance money. And so there's still cash only prefers. And still Bitcoin is viewed as a scam, as a get rich quick scheme. But one of the greatest things I would like to share this with you, since this is Bitfinex and you would love it, there is not Bitcoin adoption. There is USDT adoption around the world. I've seen that in now 38 countries. People prefer USDT than Bitcoin. One, because most majorly people are P2P traders. So with the volatility, USDT gives you that stability. And USDT is the most preferred anywhere I've seen. Like people who, if they're buying something or sending someone anything across for any trade, that is USDT. And yes, the ones who are rich enough, they like to save their money in Bitcoin.
That's fascinating. Let's talk a little bit more about this Tether adoption. People are using it how? Like, how have you seen them using it? Like, just
I would say it's majorly just for that sending money between each other. There's a strong P2P community in most of the countries around the world. It is just a man exercising his option of sending money across a different reel of channel. Like generally, we use our money through the banks, but the banks are closed on a Friday to Sunday, and then they charge you an exorbitant amount of fees. But with USDT, if you're using it on a Tron network, you're paying just like $1 or $2 as the fee, and the money is gone instantly. So most of the people who are abroad are sending their money to their loved ones using Tether. This is what I have seen. And that is all across Africa. I was in 18 African countries. Yes, Bitcoin is good. Bitcoin is great. But when I started my journey, Bitcoin was $60,000 and it went down to $16,000. Only if I would have converted all my Bitcoin to Tether, I would have had a good stability. But no, since my journey was with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has a very stronger message to share, and Tether is what is being used. That's what I would say.
okay. Wow. What was the most surprising thing that you've seen, like as far as Bitcoin's concerned? Like, have you seen anything that you didn't expect, or like people using Bitcoin in creative ways, like, or is it just
I,
all Tether?
I would say, like, for me, it was like a couple of personal experiences that came through. I was in Congo. I wanted to convert my $100 bill, and the guy said, "No, I will not accept your $100 bill." I asked why. He's like, "It's printed in 2009." And I was like, Jesus Lord, my money gets expired now. I see. So I understood the importance of Bitcoin back then, and I was stopped again at the borders of South Sudan. For that matter, Fort Lauderdale. I crossed into Fort Lauderdale into reaching for the Miami conference. The guy asked, "What do I do?" I say, "I make videos on Bitcoin." He's like, "How much Bitcoin do you have in your wallet?" Thank God I had like 10 different wallets. So I just showed him one wallet because you can carry away with like any amount of Bitcoin in your wallet. I saw Bitcoin is the change. Bitcoin is the soul. Bitcoin is the reason we have all these 25,000 other crypto coins. There is stable sats, but as we speak, stable sats are just being used on the Blink wallet. That's a Bitcoin Beach wallet, which is bringing more adoption into El Salvador. So I see that as a positivity. Still, but because I would say out of 7 billion people, 5 million people use it. We are very early in this entire scheme. And thanks to the stability of Tether, people appreciate Tether a lot. That is something that I've seen. I would say, yes, people love Bitcoin. People understand the freedom aspect. Like, yes, I'm a liberal. I am a freedom activist. I want some money that cannot be controlled by anyone. That's what Bitcoin is. That's what Bitcoin will ever be. And as we are moving forward, we are seeing a lot of adoption thanks to the Lightning Network. But as you know, many Bitcoiners don't do that. I would give you an example. I was in Honduras, Roatan. They have a free city called Prospera. We have a Bitcoin club down there. About 25 people came down for the Bitcoin meetup. Only 10 people used Bitcoin. Everybody else used their fiat. So we are still early. People understand it, but we are very early in this process. And it's a game of a rich people. Anybody who's listening to it thinking like, yes, I want to change the world. Yes, if you have money in your pocket, your stomach is full, then you have a lot of time to change the world. And this is what I've seen is the game of a rich. The money doesn't trickle down to the common man. Yes, we want it to trickle down, but it's a process. It's a generation. It's just not education. People don't even know how to do maths. We are busy using our smartphones more than talking to our friend. You can see that on a dinner table when you sit. People are more on their phones. We are living in a digital world, and it makes sense to use digital money. And yeah, it's a process, and I'm part of the process. Like I would love to say, like, yes, if it's 20 years, I would love to be part of the process.
How many countries in total have you had the opportunity to travel to?
I was able to travel to 38 countries. The goal is 40, another two to go. That's going to be Peru and Guatemala. Of all the 38 countries, there's only one country I couldn't use Bitcoin. That was Haiti.
Okay. And what happened in Haiti? Why weren't you able to use Bitcoin?
One, I don't speak the French language or the Creole because on the Caribbean they speak the Creole. And second, on the first night of my stay in there in Port-au-Prince, I heard gunshots. So there was fear.
Okay.
And on the second night, then I moved over into the other place, and I couldn't speak, so I just let it go. I just was like, I tried to reach out to the communities, tried to find people, but there's a lot of fear in the country because the gangs have taken over. They had killed their president, so there was a lot of fear. So I just walked away and moved over into Dominican Republic, and then beautiful. It was magical from there. It
Wow.
was the best. It was one of the countries where they had OTC desks, Bitcoin ATMs, a lot of expats using Bitcoin. And so it was really easy for me there, just on the other side of the mountains.
I'm glad you were able to make it out of there safely. That sounds like it was quite the experience there.
We need
Uh,
safety, brother. I think so. I would just add here, like any, if you want to use Bitcoin, you need to feel safe. If you don't feel safe, where can you use? Safety is one of the most important pillars of using Bitcoin. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's a crazy experience, man. What country would you say you've seen Bitcoin or crypto have the most impact?
Impact. Wow. I think so. El Salvador has been a great pace setter for people. Thanks to El Salvador, there is a trickle down effect in Guatemala. They have Bitcoin Lake, Costa Rica, Bitcoin Jungle. And if you fall down, Roatan in Honduras. And if you go down, you have Brazil. There are three circular economies. As you can look in your neighbors, Argentina. They are going to dollarize, but they will not Bitcoinize, you see. Yeah. So that's what is happening. I would say Nigerians, there are 200 million people, but majorly the people who are using it are just crypto traders or P2P traders. South Africa for me was a big wake up call because South Africa was the only circular economy that was using Bitcoin. Like the slums was using Bitcoin. Like these are the people who make an average $60 to $100 per month. They were getting paid in Bitcoin and they were using Bitcoin between themselves for a haircut or for food or for a car wash. So that's what I saw in South Africa. That was really positive.
Is that Bitcoin Akasi that you're referring
Mm.
to?
Yep, Bitcoin and Kasi.
Okay.
That's right.
I've had the chance to interview Herman a couple times. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Like I would just add here, like most of the economies are like crowdfunded. You more than crowdfunded is donation based, right? But I came
Yeah.
across one economy, the one you should get them on. You would like them. It's called Amity Age. They are from Roatan, Honduras. They are self funded. They don't care about the money. They have this mining operation. From the mining operation, they make money, and then they use that same money to do education and all. And they have been doing this for the last 1 year in Honduras. And they're very
Wow.
nice people. That's the only self-funded, self-sufficient, sovereign economy that they're trying to create. And I was there almost 65 businesses except Bitcoin on that small island. So we are very early, but yeah, that's a very positive lookout.
Have you had a chance to visit Bitcoin Jungle and
Yep.
Bitcoin
Yep.
Lake in Guatemala? You have?
Yeah. I
Can
did
you?
not do Lake. Lake is the last country, but Bitcoin Jungle, Lee has done a great job. Lee, Hans, and what's the other guy? Richard. Yeah, these three guys and Govinda also now they're like these guys have gone and these guys have made a great economy and slowly and gradually they're gonna have a Bitcoin Freedom Festival on January 20th or 27th. I'm not sure of the date, but next year they're having like this again in Costa Rica. So tourism has grown. People have started moving towards Costa Rica because of this. And I would say Costa Rica is more like a crypto country. They are more crypto friendly. They're having a lot of crypto people down there. So yeah, that's a very nice country. If you're looking for somebody to somewhere to move, I think that country is very friendly.
What country would you say is the least Bitcoin friendly?
Least Bitcoin friendly. DC, I would have said Cuba and Nicaragua, but their country laws are so chill. They're like, if you like crypto, do it. You're on your own. But I would say the least friendly. Oh my God, I would like Central Africa. I don't know. No, Africa, you can put it out there, man. I think so. Everybody is going digitalized because everybody is using their phone. I wouldn't say any, but everybody has their like Trinidad and Tobago are open for it. Jamdex coin comes from Jamaica. Puerto Rico has all the rich millionaires and billionaires who have made their money in crypto move there. So there are adopters there, but no adoption. I think so. Every country is using it, but I think so. Africa, when people are hoping that Africa would bring the change, it's going to take 20 years. Because an average man's salary is $60 to $100 a month. You can't bring a change in $60 per month. If you don't have money, what do? You have to feed your 4 children and all. In this part, Zimbabwe was the one country that is anti-crypto. That's one country I would say. Zimbabwe is the country
Zimbabwe.
that suffered in 2008. They went down to $100 trillion, and then they went to dollarize their country for 8 years. Then 2016 they came back with their own currency. You wouldn't believe, brother. When I was there last year, July, $1 was 500 Zimbabwe dollars. Okay, one USD to 500. Today we are at like some 13, 14,000. It's ridiculous in a year. South
Yeah.
Sudan was the same country. South Sudan is the youngest country in this world. They got their independence in 2011, just 12 years ago. One South Sudanese pound was $3. That's strong. They were oil rich. And last year when I was there, one South Sudanese pound, no, sorry, $1 is 700 South Sudanese pound. How can a
Wow.
man dream? How can a person dream when your money is losing value? So African countries are such that there is still the power of who has money and who has guns. As you can see, a lot of is happening over the last 2 months with Burkina Faso coming through and all, and a lot of coups have started happening because they were all like 14 African countries use the CFA printed by the French government till date. And one of the positive things I think so people don't see that as a positivity, but that price has stayed stable. Their CFA was fixed. That same 1 is to 500 or 600, it stayed stable. But as you look for the other countries, Zimbabwe, they removed 4 zeros. Mozambique removed 4 zeros. Ghana removed zeros. Zambia, all of these countries have lost their values. They went from $1 for 10,000 and they started devaluing. Every African has lost 99% of their wealth like that. So, yes, it is a positive thing, but as we dig in deeper, everything that's beautiful has dirty, deep secrets. And that's what we figured out in the African countries. And as you can see, things are changing now. And they are like opening the borders up, not just to France, but for the world.
That's super interesting. Has that hyperinflation that you've seen like throughout the region like spurred people to protect their wealth like by using crypto?
No, they would just go buy food for the day because it's the time preference is so low. When I remember I went for my morning run in Zimbabwe. One day I went, we bought a loaf of bread for $1.05. Next morning I went for a run. I said I'll buy the bread. It was $1.10. When your
Wow.
money is just losing value, you just go buy food because you have a family to feed. Crypto is not even a solution for people. It's just who has access to it. It's the information. We are talking in English. Bitcoin was written in English. All the information comes in English. By the time the information is converted into your regional languages, it's gone because there are emotions involved. There are over 2,000 languages in Nigeria alone. That's 200 million people. We're talking a 1.5 billion population of Africa with over 5 to 6,000 languages. And people don't care. I think so. There are some places that they don't care. They are living in the bush. They are happy. They eat the same breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have no problem. Crypto doesn't bring any change. Machakura, you look at Machakura, they say, yes, we have been doing SMS based Bitcoin transactions using Lightning Network. Now they enabled, what do you call it? Or via WhatsApp. Same thing with Strike. They said we are global. What is global for you when you have 200,000 people using it? That's not global. That's just you saying like, yes, we are going global. How many people in USA use them? 20,000 people use them. It's just like these are the numbers that I hear, and I may be mistaken with the numbers, but there are not more than there are not 2 to 5 million people using Lightning Network. 5 million people start using Lightning Network. I think Lightning Network will have an attack. It would taste it. It sounds good. We can process millions of transactions per second, but try. Let's try.
Yeah, I mean, I run my own node for Lightning,
Yeah.
and I've had issues with routing and stuff like that for payments. You basically have to connect to a very large, very well-funded node.
We're on the same part. I like it. I call Bitcoin as a government job. If you're in here for 2 years, please don't come. Come here for 20 years.
No, it's nice to get you know, your view from on the ground from so many different places. You know, like I feel like your prediction of 20 years is probably on point because I don't see hyper Bitcoinization happening overnight either. So, wow, that's just really, really interesting that you've had the opportunity to have so many varied experiences and kind of interact with so many different people around the world, man. So, what's your biggest takeaway, I guess, from traveling to 38 different countries?
I got to host 109 Bitcoin meetups in these different countries, got to meet community on the ground. And I understood one thing that if you are not humble, Bitcoin will make you humble. It will bring you down. It will show you what's the ground, and you will have a grounded approach. The eyes, I traveled the world. 2015, I used to travel like a hippie. I traveled like a hippie. And for 4 years, I was a good, happy hippie. I was going with the flow. But traveling with Bitcoin, I realized it's all about proof of work. This is why this great country, United States of America, was found because of proof of work. This is why we say old money is so strong because the old money worked. We humans have started using less. We have not started using, we have started working less. It's moved towards proof of stake. And we are becoming more smarter thanks to our smartphones, but our efforts are getting less and less and less. The technology is the reason that we are advancing now at such a strong state. If technology is the reason, it just makes sense to use a digital money. I have come to that understanding and let people suffer. You can't save the world. You can bring a change into this world that is by bringing your own children. You can bring a change into this world by dedicating your time to it. But trying to go out and trying to go like, yes, I am the savior is not the right way. It's from you who starts the change. So I understand and I appreciate everybody who's contributing their time to Bitcoin. Everybody deserves the Bitcoin at the price they deserve. So stay humble, stack sats, and bring the change in your people. To start a circular economy, you do not need 500,000 people. You need your 50 people. You have your own 50 people who believe in Bitcoin. That's enough. You can move money between yourself. So you, your father, your butcher, or your milkman, or anything, that's more than enough for it. You're trying to get the bigger level, the nation state adoption. That's a process. Can you imagine how strong it is? And USA ain't going anywhere. USA is still a strong country for the next 30, 50 years. It's not going anywhere. Because what happens is, brother, I'm 34. And if I go on into this mindset that in the next 30 years the world is gonna die, everything is gonna go to rubbish, I will become 65 and I will die. So why should I go through so much pain of feeling of for everyone? I should take a little chill, stay humble, stack sats, contribute to the ecosystem. That's my plan forward. Like I'm gonna finish my journey in practically 2 months from now, and I'm gonna look for a job, and I'm gonna share what I've learned. I've learned about humanity so much. The biggest resource in this world is human resource. And that's the least we use because now we do not even express our emotions thanks to WhatsApp. So I would just advise to people like stay humble, stack, learn, and bring the change between your own 50 people. That's enough.
I'm so happy I got to interview you at the beginning of your journey when I was at Bitrefill, and
Yes.
now I guess at the end of your journey, man. Congratulations on you know almost reaching your goal. I know you're going to reach your goal in the next month or so. Yeah, no, that's super cool, man. That's really incredible that you were able to pull it off and actually travel to 40 different countries on crypto, on Bitcoin. That's amazing to me. How difficult was it to use Bitcoin to like pay for your lodging and food and stuff like that?
When I started the first 100 days, it was really fun because India, because of the community was very receptive. India, UAE, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Sri Lanka. I think so. I would be 95% on Bitcoin because I used to find people. But as I moved to Africa, it became a challenge, and I was only able to find 5 to 6 places every country.
Yeah.
It was a really challenge thing, but it was all possible because most of the Bitcoiners received me in their home. So it really helped me to cover that. And for me, I used to stay in hostels. I did not have a strong funding. Given that, I was able to do 5 out of 10 people said yes to Bitcoin. So it was really nice because people liked the journey, the story, like, hey, I'm traveling using Bitcoin. Would you like to learn about it? And I was able to contribute and share the knowledge. I was able to book my flights, hotels, flights with traveler.com or cheapair.com or future.travel. I was able to do that. Bitrefill was a great supporter. I used Bitrefill almost in every country I've used. I think so. I'm the only guy who would have used Bitcoin. Their services in most of the countries. Bitrefill, I got SIM cards. Now they have the eSIM feature that I really enjoyed. I was able to do a P2P trade in every country. So if there is an apocalypse, if there is a solar flare, if the world is crashing, your Bitcoin is still alive because there are people like you and me who are running a node everywhere around the world. We are very early and we are still in a process as we move forward. But it is still possible to use Bitcoin. Your money is safe. That's what I would advise to people would be like, you're safe and ask. You may be surprised that your random Uber driver would be ready to accept Bitcoin too. So it's still early, but it's possible.
Nice. That's pretty amazing that you were able to do it, man. How long have you been traveling for? Because like that was a
I
long time ago when I was at Bitrefill and I interviewed you. That was like over a year
September
ago.
17th. I really thank Bitrefill, man. Bitrefill has been supporting me this the second leg of the journey. That has been beautiful. I think so. My crowdfunding dried out over the last 3 4 months, but thanks to Bitrefill, Bitcoin for India, and Bitcoin Beach for their support, I was able to do this. I started the journey in September 17th, 2021, and now we are, and this is it. The 39th country is on September 17th, and this is
Wow.
it. I could take a break of 1 month in between. When I finished the first 22 countries, then I took a little break, and then I started off again. And yeah, man, the message was very clear. Next time, if anybody talks, when I started the journey, there were not content creators for Bitcoin. We had podcasts appreciated, but there were no content creators. And as the journey has gone forward, we have Bitcoin explorers. We have Joe Nakamoto coming through. We had the crypto couple come through. We have Max DeMarco. Now there are almost 13 to 15 new documentaries that are going to be released on Bitcoin. And so that is beautiful. Like that is amazing. We have grown, and as I still say, the pie is just so small. We are just. I would say to everybody this. This was asked to Albert Einstein on his deathbed. It was asked like, "Hey Albert, you have achieved so much in this world. How do you feel?" And Albert's reply was like, "Hey, I'm merely by the seashore playing with the pebbles. There's a vast ocean out there." So, every Bitcoiner, we are just so small right now. There's a vast ocean out there for all of us to discover and share this knowledge. So, you keep going, start anytime. The community is very receptive and very helpful. Yes, you call them the toxic maxis, but if they were not toxic, we would not have Bitcoin today. Thanks to the UASF happened in back in 2017. Now we have the ordinals and now the BIP 300 thing. It's good to be a keyboard warrior on Twitter, having fun. But if you learn more and stay humble, you can bring more change.
Paco, thank you so much for coming on the show. How can people follow the last two countries? Like where can they find you on social media?
All right. I use three social medias. You can, if you use YouTube, it's Paco de la India. That's Paco from the India. On Twitter, it's Run with Bitcoin or X, whatever it is. And NPub if you want, Paco on Noster. So you can check me out down there. If you have any advice for me, please do reach out to me and do share your blessings. And yeah, I'll be looking for a job in the next 2 months. So if you have anything, do let me know. And thank you.
Well, thanks again, man.